Hi everyone, welcome back to DIY Everything. Today we will be making homemade Shea Cocoa Butter Soap. And we will be telling you the ingredients to start off.
Okay, first of all, we're going to use make you a lye because it's going to be cold pressed. Make sure you get a kitchen scale. Get a digital kitchen scale. You get you some measuring cups, plastic. Okay, and the first step is to mix. I mix my lye. It's sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide. And it's a food grade sodium hydroxide. And here I measured exactly 4.63 ounces, or 4.6 ounces if your weight scale and go up to that. And the water is distilled water, or I use purified water. It's 12.1 ounces. And always zero it out and I just pour it in it and measure that. And then I'm gonna mix this outside. I'm gonna pour the dry into the wet so it don't splash. I suggest you not try to pour liquid into that because it's gonna splash out and the stuff will get hot. It gets up to about 100 degrees plus Fahrenheit, so it gets hot. And I use this to measure the temperature of the water once you mix that lye and water together. Okay, now I'm gonna pour, as I say earlier, I'm put the dry chemical into the water, wet chemical. Just tap it, get many granules as I can inside. Like this lye. And that will activate the lye. And I have a digital thermometer. And if you can see, it's like 77 degrees, right? So now when you stir, it activates the lye and it gets hot. If it was cool out here, you can actually see steam from it. And I come outside because it's very toxic. And make sure no pets or kids or nothing around to knock this over, because it is lye. And it gets very hot. Now after I stirred and activated, check temperature, went from 77, it shoot up to 187 degrees. Now that's very hot. It's still climbing from 77 shot up to 185 degrees. And it's still cooking. You can feel the heat from it. 188. So I let that set for about 10 minutes or so until it cooled down to about 110 or 115 degrees. Okay, now I'm waiting for my lye mix to cool outside. Now I'm going to mix the oils together. And I put the empty bowl up here, turn the scale on, and make sure I zero it out. And what I do for a rule of thumb, I put the solid oils in the bowl first. Okay, since I'm going to make a Shea Cocoa Butter Soap, I get my raw, unrefined shea butter and put that in there. So I need, according to my recipe, shea butter, I need 4.8 ounces of shea butter. Let's cut off that, chunks of it. 4.8 ounces of shea. That's 3. Uh, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, 6. 6, 4.7, 4.8 ounces of shea butter. Okay. 4.8, so put this back. Shea butter. Now I put the cocoa butter. And the cocoa butter is a very hard oil. So I went and crushed it up earlier, and you do get pure raw cocoa butter. Pure cocoa butter is hard, cocoa. And for this recipe, just going to use 3.2 ounces of cocoa butter. Don't use that much because it's very hard and heavy. So I put 3.2. 2.3, 2.4, 2.6, 3.01, okay, 3.2 of cocoa butter. Okay, now set that aside what I used already. And now my next ingredient, the basis of it, is coconut oil. I'm going to need 9.6 ounces of coconut. And make sure you zero the scale. And get up to 9.6. So it's a lot more. 7.4. 8.9. 9.4. 9.6. After you do it a while, you can kind of judge about how much to go in there on the spoon gobs and how to get it to the point to where you want it. Just take practice. That's 9.6 of coconut. And now the palm kernel oil. They got palm oil and they have palm kernel oil. I like to use the palm kernel oil. Makes for better soap. Better than just palm oil. And the palm kernel oil, I'm going to use 3.2 ounces of palm kernel. 3.2, that's 1.4, 3.3, and then you take a little bit out, 3.1, 3.2. It's just that simple. 3.2 ounces palm kernel. And now I get to my wet ingredients. I call them more liquefied oils. Zero it out. Now I go to the basic olive oil. You can use any oil you want, but I use olive oil. You don't have to use no extra virgin or anything like that. And the olive oil is, I use 9.6 ounces of olive oil. Okay. Zero out, scale, get up to 9.6. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.7. I slow it down. 9.1. I need 9.6. Go slow. 9.3. 4. Let it trickle. 5. 6. 9.6. If you don't get it exact, that's okay. That'll be perfect. Perfect. That takes practice. 9.6. Now I'm going to put my last wet oil in there, which will be castor oil. And the castor oil, don't put that much castor oil, more for the bubbly. So the castor oil, going to be only 1.6 ounces of castor oil. Make sure you zero. And then I make sure you get a good grip onto this little thing. So I just grip it like that. So I make sure it won't slip. So I need 1.6 and I let it trickle across that. So it won't drip on the side. 0.6, 0.8, 0.9, 1.1, 1.3, 4, pull back, see if I get to 6, that's 1.5, 1.6. And like I said, that does take practice to be able to do that, to get the ingredients to exactly where you want it. And that's all the ingredients I need. I got olive oil, I double check olive oil, coconut oil, I got shea butter in there. I put my palm kernel oil, castor oil, and the cocoa butter. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna microwave this at least like 1 minute intervals. Or I do 1.3, 1.5, 1 minute intervals. Take it out, stir it, and you'll see the oil start to melt. If you can see inside there, you can see the oil start to melt. I take this and I check my temperature. Don't want to get too hot, because oils do have a burn rate, a burn point to where if you get it too high, it'll burn the oil. You just want to heat it up to melt and stir. Okay, put your microwave. It's on. Now, I'm microwave that oil for about a minute, 10 seconds, or a minute. Then I come check, pull it out, and you can look at the oil. See, it's beginning to melt. And then you just bring you. I use a plastic spoon. I use a wood plastic. And this spoon is just for my oils, so I know it's clean. I stir it slowly because I want to melt all the oils in there. And see, you check, and I like to check the temperature of my oils. And see, that's just 99 degrees. Okay. And you want to combine the lye and the oils around 110, 115. So I need to hit this another minute to help the oil to melt. And put it in there for another minute. Now I blast it again for another minute. Okay. As you can see, how most of it started to melt. And slowly just stir it in there so it can melt. And most of these oils you're seeing here, that's the cocoa butter. It takes longer to melt, but you have to be patient with it and just keep stirring it. So now I'm going to check the temperature of my oil. See, now I'm up to 123 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't want to go any higher because I don't want to burn my oils. So I just have to be patient till the rest of that melt and keep stirring it. So it was like 99.6 degrees earlier. Now it's like 122. So I just keep stirring it and wait till that completely dissolve. And what's left is the hard oil, which is that cocoa. It will melt. And then I'm gonna check my lye outside to see the temperature of that. Now that's cool. Outside, I slowly stir it. Then I check the temperature. It's 142. It's like 180, so it's 140 degrees. So it has a way to go before it cools off. So I can let that sit, let my oil sit for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna check it again. Okay, I got the temperatures now at 120 and 110. So I'm gonna mix the chemicals. And be very careful with this lye. That's why I put it on like a paper plate. Okay, once I got my temperatures like below 120 degrees here, and they're about within 10 degrees of each other. And be careful and take this out. I put it on a paper plate, discard it. And this is my oils. And with this step, be very careful with this step. You want to kind of put the cup down in there and slowly pour it. And when you pour it, you can see it inside. Slowly pour it in, so you don't splash it. I don't know if you can see inside the bowl, but you see it turns kind of whitish. Now you know it's starting trying to activate. Okay, once I do that, then I get my hand mixer. I put it on low setting. Grab a handle, then I put it at an angle to go down in the oils. I tap it to remove the bubbles. I tap it to get it to mix well. And I mix until I get a trace. You see it's starting to thick up. Okay, and a trace is when you let it drip and it stays on top. So it'd be like pudding. Okay, see it getting thicker. You're looking for a trace at the top. Almost. Tap. And you see it's getting creamy. Until it thickens up. Okay. You can kind of see a trace now as it pours and sits on top. I don't know if you can see that trace on top. I'm going to hit it one time. And now you see you got that trace on top. Take this to the sink. Okay, then I'm going to pour it in here. Pour it sideways. And keep in mind, it's not soap yet, because it's still warm, it's still cooking. It has to sit covered for about 24 hours, and it saponifies, it hardens. Then it'll be soap after that, but right now it's still not soap. It's just lye and oils at this stage. So don't let it touch your skin, because it still will burn you from the lye. Okay, slight tap, shake it so it can settle. Okay, and I cover up the little top. This little holder or mold you get off of Amazon. It's cold press soap making mold. You put that on there, and I cover it up with a towel for about 24 hours. Let it saponify. All I do is put a towel over it and just let it sit. And the heat from the lye, all that will make soap after 24 hours. Okay, it's been at least 24 hours, and I had poured soap in containers, and I put a rag over there to keep it warm for at least 24 hours or more. So now we go do the unveiling. Get this off. Cool. Stuck. Loosen that up. And that's your bar soap. And whatever method you want to cut it, it's totally up to you. And you can buy this equipment on Amazon to cut soap. And I put on a drying rack. And that's it. And you want that to set and dry out for the minimum at least 2 weeks. So I would normally put a date when it was made or when I cut it, at least 2 weeks. Suggested 4 weeks is better, because if you use it before 2 weeks, it's just going to melt. But the longer it set and dries out, the better, and the longer the soap is going to. So I got a second batch. Okay, now that was my Shea and Cocoa, Shea Butter soap. Now I got my Shea and Cocoa Butter soap. And as you see, it didn't stick to the top like the last one. Yeah, whatever method you have of getting this out, that's up to you. Just peel it back. Now, shea and cocoa butter. And use the same method. And these little racks I get from like Walmart. Over here, just go into the housewares and you get little things and they don't cost that much. I put them on top and just for drying my soap. Okay, and that's it. So, and these are actually 2-pound molds with silicone inserts. They got off Amazon. And you can make your own soap, you know what's in it. Non-GMO, no animal fat, or nothing. It's all organic, all plant-based oils. And that's it for today.